Hi everyone, today we are here with Professor Stiles from the Graphic Design Department. Could you please introduce yourself briefly and what you have been doing here at ECSU in the Graphic Design Department?
Certainly. My name is John Stiles, and I'm Assistant Professor of Graphic Design. I've been here for 3 years now. And today we're going to look at a really brand new product that's been brought to us, the Wacom Cintiq.
Yes, this product has been part of the library's new production lab. And speaking about that, what do you think about the library's new production lab and library's role in support of artist creation?
I think this production lab sounds amazing from what I've heard so far of all the different, I want to call them toys, but tools that we now have access to that we didn't in the past, including this one here in front of you. But I know I haven't had a chance to see the other ones yet, but I've heard of things such as 3D printers. I know there's new scanners involved. There's all kinds of great tools that will help the progression and growth of modern day graphic designer. So I'm very excited about it. I think it's the right direction for the library to be going into at this stage in time.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the goal, and hopefully we will have more artists through the doors of the library in the future. So let's start, shall we?
All right. Well, first of all, let's take a look down here. So I bought my first Wacom Cintiq, I think about 2004, and it no longer works. So this was the original model that I used to use. It's still here in my office because they no longer support it. It's so old. So I was very excited. Like I said, mine kind of broke, and then all of a sudden I have access to a brand new one, and they're light years apart from where they were in 2004. So let's just jump into what this thing is. Well, basically, here's the original model right here. So what you would do is a drawing tablet. You're probably familiar with it. If not, you would have this plugged into your computer here. And let's say you had Photoshop open, which I'll go ahead and open it now. You can draw directly on your screen with this. While looking at the screen, you will be drawing. Some people would draw on their here. Some people would draw here. Everybody had their own specific way of doing it. I started using these in the 1990s, and it was amazing because this is a horrible drawing tool. This is a horrible drawing tool. This is much more like drawing on a piece of paper, sketching, that kind of thing. But the really important part of this drawing tablet was actually the fact that it had pressure sensitivity, meaning that if I push down, I get thicker or thinner lines, or it applies more paint. So it acts more like a pencil or a pen or a paintbrush than was possible with the mouse. You didn't have pressure sensitivity with a mouse. Plus, again, it being a stylus, your ability to draw was so much better. So this was the original incantation. This is actually also created by Wacom. They make really good products. So then again, they created these Cintiqs, which are really out of probably the price range of most students, if not all students. I mean, they are pretty expensive. So again, we're so thankful to have them here at ECSU. But I'm going to go ahead and turn one on and we'll get a look at what this thing does. So now this Wacom Cintiq is, I don't know the exact model number. I can't remember. Let's see, is it on this box here? It's a Cintiq Pro. They come in touchscreen, which this is not a touchscreen. This is a Cintiq Pro 24-inch. There is one model that's actually larger than this. It's very big. From my reviews, it's too big. It's like you're drawing like this. So I think this is probably the ideal size for this tablet, for this drawing tablet. You also can look right here. This is a stand for it, which will lift it up. I'm still in the process of assembling this, putting it on, so it'd be almost like being on an easel, where I could bring it up and down. Right now, it's just set sort of like on an angle on the table, and that's how I'm using it now, which is fine. But I'm looking forward to getting it on the adjustable stand. We're not quite there yet. Let's see. So I've opened up. Here's the Cintiq. You can see it's got a screen on it. You can actually, if you have a tower, you don't even need a monitor. You can run a Cintiq as a computer monitor. It has really great color and stuff. It seems a little strange on the angle I'm at, but when you get straight up on it, it's better. In fact, I'm going to turn off the light because I sometimes get glare, so I'm better off with the light off on here. So this Cintiq is hooked up to this iMac computer, and you can see I have two screens basically going right now. They're different. I can slide things across the screen from one to the other. So basically I've just doubled my real estate for creativity. I have this on my right side with this on my left side because I'm right-handed, and I'm finding it much easier to draw, paint, whatever I need to do with this on my left. So if you're left-handed, your configuration is probably going to be different. I happen to have this L-shaped kind of desk, so this is how I'm working. I've worked with it straight desk too, though, and it works just fine. You kind of got to get in there. You got to adjust it the way you want it. The new one comes with this little remote control here, and quite frankly, mine didn't have a remote control, so I'm still in the process of learning how to use that to the most effectively that I can. Right now, I'm using it a little bit, but I'm learning more. It's programmable, so basically it does shortcuts, changes brush sizes, all these kind of cool things. So the more I play with it, the more I'm getting used to it. I actually haven't had put too much time, many hours yet into it. Oh, well, you'll see. I'll show you my first creation. So I'm in Adobe Photoshop right now, and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and open up my what I've been working on. Give me a second here. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. And I'll show it. So this is, I've been working on a sort of a comic book cover for ECSU Vikings. I'm kind of taking, given the Vikings and the Viking culture and African American culture, or African culture actually, and kind of combining it, because I feel like the Vikings is a kind of a strange mascot for ECSU, for an HBCU. So, but I'm going to have a little fun with that then. So I'm going to show you what I got here. And here is where we're at now. So this is the ECSU Viking. So some of this was, of course, created in Illustrator, things like this, but this painting was created in Photoshop, still being created, by the way, and using the Cintiq. So right here I have it. Looks, you know, I can come check things out. I can do little adjustments in Photoshop, and I can bring it over here to my side, and now it is on the Cintiq screen. So this is what I do. I get my stuff together. What's wonderful now is, I'll kind of show you. Let me pull up my my references. Find my art. I got to go back to my file that I was using. I was just there. So I have like these things I've been using, these references. Here's some right here. And so this, again, this is what's great about the Cintiq and having two screens. I could pull up all my references. So I have a nice Frank Frazetta painting of a Viking. I've got photographs of Vikings. Just things that might help me along the way. Some comic book covers I've done, more Frazetta. I really like his style. So I'm looking at shields. And of course I can pull things up. I was looking at African shields the other day, kind of if you look right here, to give a little bit of this kind of pattern. So maybe I look, I'm trying to combine these two cultures again. So I would, but so like I said, I have all this extra real estate because I'm using two monitors. There we go, African shields. And so maybe I'm looking at some of these as well. All right, so we got, here's my references. We got this, and I like to use my keyboard. I know this will probably come in handy eventually more, but I'm not using it too much. So you can see I can scroll my thing around here. And I go back and forth. I got my layers right here, so if I don't want to take them up space here, I can move them right here. So let's see, there's my shield. We'll just start. Here's what it looks like with some comic book texture. So just using different layers here. But I want to show you the what I mean about the pressure sensitivity. So actually, let's just start a new file. So we're going to do new. This will probably be a lot easier to see. So create, and I've just got a nice white file here. All right. So the pen is here. Doesn't need batteries, doesn't need charging. There were some older models of the original type that I used to have that you did have to replace batteries, and they were inferior. I don't know why they couldn't use the same technology Wacom was using, but you never have to do anything like that. It actually has an eraser on one end. It has a programmable button here as well that you can do things. I haven't programmed it yet. Even the nib itself can be changed. There's different nibs if you want to. You can take this out. They actually say they wear out, but I've been using them forever and I've never worn one out. So, but I know they come in different thicknesses, thinnesses, things like that. And quite frankly, I just always just use the same one. I've never had to change it, but they do have that. They actually used to have an airbrush that you could actually buy for it that operated differently. I don't know if that's still available or not, but I just stick to the pen. So here we go. There's a nice white Photoshop document. We'll start a new layer here so we can draw on our new layer. And so you can see right here, I'm moving my hand across the screen and nothing's happening. I'm unable to draw or anything like that. Let me go ahead and get a brush. But you can see my brush is moving. I'm at the hover state. I'm not sure how the touchscreen works because I know there is a touchscreen and I am touching and I'm not doing anything, but I'm not sure exactly how that one works. I haven't tried one yet. So I know I can do the brush sizes here, but again, I'm not so familiar, so I'm going to do my brush sizes here. You can see I'm going up and down with my brush size. And got some black ink with a brush. I'm just going to check my different modes here. Let's open up my opacity to 100%. And we'll turn this on right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my brush. So you see right there, I tap window, so boom. And I'm opening up my brushes, tap, I hover and tap. So the brushes are over here now. I think I want them over here. The same way when I got the brush, I just came over here and tapped on the brush. So now I can kind of see what brushes I'm using. I'm gonna use a hard brush here. Let's use that one right there. Okay, so this brush, I'm gonna turn this off. Right now I've set this brush up now so that if I barely touch it, it's a small line, and if I push it, I get a thicker line. So I get the thick and thin lines I was telling you about. And you can see it's super smooth. It actually almost feels like drawing on paper. Those of you, I meant to bring this in today, many of my students are using their iPads now to get the exact same result. And it's actually wonderful. They're using the Apple Pencil, which I think retails for a little over $100, and they're using a program called Procreate. I've got one myself. I just started using it. I love it. The main advantage of this is just my real estate is about 3 times the size of what I'm going to get with an iPad. So for me, the iPad using Procreate is more like a sketch tool. It's not as in-depth, nearly as in-depth as Photoshop. It's very similar. It's very easy to use. I really like it. I've been using it, like I say, at home. But when it comes down to really getting serious and want to do some major illustration, I'm going to go this every time, just because I want to work as large as I can. And these iPads are, they're 12 inches now. They're sketchbook size, but they're not this size. So this to me is another major feature. Plus, I'm using Photoshop, which I am so familiar with that, going to Procreate, I'm still struggling. Where my students, they're loving it. So perhaps Procreate eventually can be on a PC or a desktop, an iMac, whatever. It's not there yet, I don't think. Okay, so other things it can do. So we got thick, thin lines. Can also, pressurativity can, there's 2 things you do with it. Pretty much, you adjust the thinness of your line and the opacity of your line. So now you can come in here and you see my opacity is set 100. I'm going to click this guy right here. And let's turn off the thick thin. So I can do them both together, but I'm gonna turn it off. And I'm gonna make a big brush to show you what I'm talking about. And if I hit slightly, the more I push, the more opaque it becomes. So I can now get thick. I can get this light, dark kind of illustration. And what I'm showing you guys, this is the very basics, but this is how I illustrated this. I'm using opacity. I'm using different line weights to get illustration as complex as this, or more complex than this if you're better. So this is basically how I create those skies and stuff, is using those opacities. Let's see. And I can do it with soft brush. I'm not going to make this a lesson about brushes and things like that. I'm just going to show you really the features and why this is such an amazing product. Again, the feel of it is it's really good. My old one, whenever you would draw on it, it was good, but this one is that one could be a little jumpy, a little jaggedy on the lines and stuff. This one is so much smoother. You don't get any jags. It doesn't lag like the other one. And even the fact that the pencil used to feel a little bit further from your drawing surface than this one. It almost feels like you're drawing right onto that glass now when you draw with this. So it's just, the improvement is much, much better. I forget the exact term they use as far as making it smoother, but they've come a long way since 2004. Okay, so I have those two things. And I should have just shown you some of the things I've done, but I don't have that on hand right now. Any questions about that? That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of this Cintiq 24-inch.
The question is, I have seen in iPads that there are other mediums of arts, such as watercolor and oil painting. Can this device imitate that?
Absolutely, yeah. You can, the oil painting could be a little trickier, but there's all kinds of different brushes here. So that's actually more of a Photoshop thing than it is an iPad thing. The program itself, what's it offering? But I can definitely get some watercolory looking brushes. Let's see, I even have wet media brushes that'll give you more oily kind of stuff. Let's just play around with them. Let's see what we got here. So, deselect, something's going on. Let's see. This is a dry media brush. Well, I'll just kind of show you some of the brushes then. How about that? So you can see, look at the jagged. This is like a dry media brush. So this feels a lot more. Let me go ahead and play with my opacity as well. So now I've got opacity. Well, it's not doing it because it's a really specialized brush. Here's a pastel. Now you're seeing it, yeah. You're getting very pastel, like feel to it, look to it. Come in with some blues. So I'm going to turn off this. Just turn on the opacity. And some of them blend. It depends on the brushes, quite frankly. You're as somebody who's been using this for a long time, you're gonna find the ones you like best. There's tons of brushes you can find online. Here's Kyle's Real Oils Flex Wet. I have no idea what that is. There, look at that. Yeah, there's your oil. So you see how it's blending like an oil? Honestly, I never used this brush. These were specialized ones, but that's that oil you wanted. And so pretty much anything that Procreate can do, I can do in Photoshop. I don't think Procreate's got anything over Photoshop, quite frankly. Let's see if I have watercolor. If not, I can show you. Special effects brushes, so we can do things like this, make halftones. Oops. There we go. You're not really seeing them. They're light, but they're little dots. They're too small. So maybe we can get bigger ones. Nope. Splatter brushes. I can make splatters, things like that. You can just have a blast, and you can see, all the possibilities. And again, if there's a certain brush you're looking for, the first thing I do is go straight online. I actually made these lip brushes. So look, I can make little lips. And that's a lip going nuts right there. Smoke brushes. Some of these I downloaded for special things I was working on. I needed some smoke, so I went and got these smoke brushes. Watch this. Select all, deselect. Oops. Cancel. Select all, delete. I think I'm on the wrong layer. No? Oh, I'm on the background. Hang on, guys. Here we go. No, okay. We'll play with I'm going to switch over to white. We got a blue background now. Whoops. There we go. Now, let's see if I can make some smoke. Let's get a new layer. So I'm going to put a new layer above that background layer. Set the white, and it does it. There we go. So kind of smoke. And that's the same brush repeated, but maybe I play with. There's all kinds of wetnesses up here now, so this has changed because it's a different brush. And again, I don't want to get too deep into it. I just want to kind of show you what kind of brushes are available to you. We have glass. I'm not even sure what that is. Let's try this one. Crosshatch. There we go. Yeah. So you can do brushes that look like that. And see, it goes with it. That's really cool right there. It's going with the angle that of the stylus. Toothbrush, yeah, okay. Sort of could do like space designs with that. I've got some kind of Chinese looking brushes. I'm not sure what those are. Because I've been getting brushes forever, so I kind of lose track of what I got. What's Ocean Wave? I don't know about that one. But yeah, this is hopefully that answers your question. Oh, the watercolor. Well, I was trying to see if there was an actual watercolor brush, but I'll just use like this chalk brush here. And, for me, watercolor, you're going to want it. Oh, this is a wet brush. You're going to want to use the opacity setting.
Could you please also go through your latest work that you were mentioning a few minutes ago?
Well, that was
one more time.
What, this piece here?
Yes.
What about it?
How long did it take for you?
How many
finalize it?
hours? Let's see. I've probably put 15 hours maybe in it so far. If you look here, you can see all the different layers I'm using. Like there's the shield right there is on a layer. The typography is on its own layer. So this splash. So you know, I paint that splash. Actually, let me show you. I paint that splash using some of those really cool brushes I showed you. If you can look at it, you can see all. Remember those the little dots and stuff you saw. So I just go in there and experimenting and try to go. You know, what can I get this? How can I get this splashing water effect with this guy charging off this boat? And I go in there and use those special brushes and this right here, and that's how I go about getting that effect. So yeah, anything else?
This is a great example of utilizing this device.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've had, you know, I don't get enough time to play with it, but as I want, but I do squeak in a little moments here and there when I can. Sometimes you can find me here on later in the evening or on weekends playing with this right here because it's just so much fun. And I'll tell you another thing, it's really geared for illustrators. So, you know, it works great with Adobe Illustrator, but we have a lot of kids come in here who want to be illustrators. We don't offer an actual illustration department. But in graphic design, if you have illustration skills, your stock rises. I mean, it's great if you can do a little bit of everything: photography, illustration, and typography. Those are the three big ones in graphic design. So this makes you a better illustrator. It gives you the opportunity to illustrate sort of like faux oil paints and things like that, which would be, let's say you had a tight deadline, you don't have time to make an oil paint. This allows you that time. And it's fast. Like I said, it's just so much faster. It's really quick. So this to me is the illustrator's tool. If you leave college, you can afford one. This is the first thing you need to get if you want to be an illustrator, unless you're working in some old analog medium. You know, that's what you want to do. Okay.
One more quick question. So since it is part of the library's mission to support content creators, artist creation, and would that apply also outside of the spectrum of artists, such as, for example, an aviation major? Can an aviation major benefit from this?
I know people. Well, aviation, I'm not so sure. I would say anybody using like AutoCAD programs, things like that, any kind of 3D program like that, I know they use them. I know animators use them. So it's not just illustration. Yes, other people use these as well. People, you know, they just like, again, the size, the ability to get in there, and it feels much more old school, you know, like you're drafting and things like that. But I know I've seen videos where people are using those 3D, those design layout programs for architecture, things like that. So yeah, I mean, is our animation or aviation our big, you know, program? I'm not sure, but there could be something out there.
Thank you. So that answers my question. Actually, it's not only for the arts department, but it is a multidisciplinary device that can other departments can benefit. Absolutely.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you.